James Melendez, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to talk about discovery sets or sample sets. Stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and please give a like. I think these are, things to talk about. I'm not really picking on these brands because I very much enjoy their products, their fragrances, and so it's not to pick on them, but to really point out expenses on these particular offerings. Now, I think, when I look at these particular offerings, they are relatively expensive. Let's go over these on an overview. First of all, the reason I don't like these sample sets is I think they're expensive for what you get. So that's number one. Number two, I don't think it really replaces the experience of a full spray experience. Now, people buy this because this is expensive product, not just Creed itself, but other brands. And I think people are, as I always say, quality fragrance, good material, good fragrances are expensive. So I never go to something that is similar to. I actually just stick with the brand itself because I'm always disappointed. It never comes out to be that experience. The title of this video is going to be Do Not Buy. Now, I'm not going to buy these again. And that's one simple reason why. They are expensive for what you get. And so I'm lucky enough to live in a city that has these fragrances available at several retailers, not just one, and so I can experience them. Now, one thing I do experience is I put it on my skin. I don't just do the tester. I do the walk away. I'll come back maybe another week or two or month. But in the meantime, I write down my notes. What is my experience? What are the specific notations on that? Give it a point score. So I use maybe an academic point score to 100 scale. And I try to rank that. So if you've never done that before, that's okay. You can calibrate your notes in the future. That's what I do. Fragrance, in my experience, is not always going to be something that's a standard or that you always experience or love in the same way. And I'll talk about that in another video. Now, these two sets are $35, $55 for Maison Francis Kurn. And I think, if you don't live in a city that doesn't have these counters, then you really, should consider buying them if you really want to or feel compelled to. I am disappointed in some ways. So we'll talk first about Creed's box, $35. It's a nice box, right? It's a nice package, nothing wrong with that. And so you get to select 3 different fragrances. You can't select the same fragrance 3 times. I was curious, could you do Aventus 3 times? Absolutely not. And could you do the latest fragrance, Viking? No, can't do that either. So, I bought obviously Aventus, and then I bought these 2 confirmatory. Do I really enjoy these? So Virgin Island Water was one and Silver Mountain Water was the other. So experiencing these were, that confirmation experience. And, I thought to myself, well, in the future, I would just put it towards this. So that was $35 and I could have used that towards this. And yes, if you buy directly from the retailer, from Creed itself, you'll get that credit back, or at least part of the credit that you spent on this. And I think you have 30 days to do so. I am particular where I buy from for a lot of reasons. Maybe it's a loyalty program, or maybe it's frequent flyer miles, but I'm not going to buy from Creed specifically unless there's a really good reason for me to do so. Now, the Maison Francis Kurn is $55. You get 8 fragrances. I think it's a nice package. Nothing wrong with the package, nothing wrong with the house itself. I love both these houses. I think they're fantastic. I love their fragrances. So when I'm experiencing this, and it's same thing with Creed, doesn't matter the discovery box, the sample size, they're all pretty much the same formulation in terms of maybe the small little vial itself with a spray. This does not pour at the same rate as a real bottle that you would buy from the retailer or from the producer itself. This is something where, I definitely had 2 or 3 to get that experience. So here in my town, I can get this, smell this anywhere. I have a full set that I can smell from. And I think sometimes it can be personal preference, right? You can go to a fragrance counter and guess what? You're going to be pummeled with a lot of pressure, especially if it's a commissioned fragrance counter. And I get that that's really not a lot of fun to deal with, but I don't mind that. I actually would rather deal with that than not experience the fragrance itself. So here's what I do. It's always a 2-test experience. I go in one time, the first time perhaps, of I want to maybe experience one of these Maison Francis Kurn fragrances. I'll put it on. I'll write some notes down actually when I get home because it's still on my skin. It's still something that I can remember and recall. I give it a point score. So I have a 100 point score system. And if you're starting out, I would consider doing that, or maybe it's an ABC score. You can figure out what works best for you. I cannot spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a fragrance per year or for a set of fragrances. Just can't do it. And I don't have the room for it either. So I really want to be select on what I get, right? That's everyone else as well. So this is $80 together with tax, $90. And so when I think about this is really, I could apply that to, maybe this fragrance, another fragrance, something I've been wanting for a while. So I've been very, putting down that this will be a do not buy for me. I was originally going to title this Do Not Buy. But I would say if you live in a place you can't have access to these and you really want to experience them more often, you don't have a trip planned to a bigger city that might have these fragrances at a retailer, so maybe it is what you want to do. So I'm not going to discourage that. I'm also going to point out, if you do buy these, consider your spray rate. Maybe it's a 2 times or 3 times to get that experience of a retail package. Now please give a like to this video, subscribe to this channel, and I appreciate that very much. I will see you very soon. And also right up here are my wine reviews, James the Wine Guy. Thank you for watching. I will see you very soon.